And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live, brought to you by FahertyBrand.com and also HarperCollins Summer Reading. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. And joining me are the incredible Hollywood producing team of Neil and Lauren Mandt, here to talk about their fascinating, sort of addictive to me, new app called CrimeDoor. Thanks for joining us, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I love that little door. I just love that little door. Every time I see it, I want to open it up and go inside a crime scene, which with your app, right, we can do that. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so the app, it has 100,000 plus hours of free content, but it also has some of the most advanced augmented reality content available in the market. And we use the app to allow your camera phone to scan your environment and then open up, essentially wherever you are, a doorway. You see this augmented reality doorway, and you're able to walk directly into it and have a virtual reality experience. Again, no eyewear needed, all on the phone. And you're basically walking through a time machine and revisiting a crime scene with the hopes, perhaps, that we could solve some of these cases.
I think it's so fascinating. And you're right. We don't need the big goggles. We don't need a TV screen or a remote. All we need are our phones. Walk me through a really, really famous case that so many people would know about, that's been unsolved, for example.
Right. Well, one of the biggest cases, which we're actually working with a family member, is the Delphi case. And it's out of Delphi, Indiana. And Abby and Libby were murdered, and it's still unsolved to this day. But we created an AR doorway where you can literally walk into the moment when the two girls met with this perpetrator, and the girls actually took a photo of him on their phone. So that's why we have this photo evidence to be able to bring to this audience to maybe, see something that somebody else didn't see, or really just bring awareness to the case to keep that conversation going.
How did you design this app? It almost seems mind-boggling that you do that, because it's involved, right? We go through doors, we see the murder scene. It's almost like we're there watching what's happened. How did you get a hold of all these cases and do this? Because primarily it's the two of you with a small team, right?
Right.
It's a lot. Tell me.
Yeah, well, first we realized the need that was in the marketplace. There wasn't necessarily a need for the AR. We knew that would be a great addition, and we knew that we're on the front edge of this kind of technology. It's going to become very normal. However, Lauren and I realized when watching a documentary on the staircase that there was no home base for true crime content. If you wanted to learn about the staircase, you would search the internet and you would see the latest information, which would be about the Netflix show or the trial, and you'd have to search more and more and more, have more and more tabs open to really start to see the big picture. And it wouldn't be that way if you were a sports fan. If you wanted to know about LeBron James, you'd go right to ESPN.com or many other apps, and you'd have all the information neatly organized for you. So we first realized that just the environment, the platform to house news and updated content, articles, videos, photos, 911 and other reports, that you could have it in one environment, identified by case and by location. That was the first opportunity we thought to build a community. And then understanding augmented and virtual reality, we knew we could add this technology that would take the content to a whole different level of understanding.
And primarily, right, it's for detectives to take a look, investigators to take a look, reporters who are reporting on it, and writers, and and then the general public who might have a curiosity about what might have happened, right?
Right. It's really something for everyone. We've talked a lot with different cold case detectives, and they think as we advance the number of cases, you'll be able to filter down on that map and see maybe patterns, if there's missing persons or mysterious deaths in a certain area or a certain country. They might be able to look at something in a different way. So there's really something for everyone. And specifically because each map pin and each case profile is based around each victim rather than the perpetrator. We really wanted to focus on giving a voice to these victims that maybe not have been talked about in the last few years or even, decades.
Yeah, there's quite a few very, very famous cases that have not been solved. Let's talk about JonBenet Ramsey, right? A lot of people talk. I know it happened quite some time ago. Oh, by the way, let me just say, for anyone listening or watching this, if you want to quickly download that app, CrimeDoor, right? It's so fun. You can look through it with us. You can just sort of scan it, look through it, swipe left or right, and just, even put in there a crime that you're interested in. Please do that while we're talking. I'd love to hear about that. But let's talk about JonBenet Ramsey, for example. I mean, there were so many questions. What about the broken glass window? That ransom note seemed to be mom's ransom note. I mean, can you walk us through there? Like, let's say I'm interested in that case again, and I want to see it. What would I see?
Right. Well, the AR doorway that we created, well, first you'd land on the JonBenet case profile, and that has the articles, photos, videos that have all been curated from the internet. So you can start your deep dive there.
Wow.
And then go back and forth between the actual news evidence and that the police reporters have put out, and then go into the AR door. So you're literally walking into a portion of the basement. Their basement was very large. So for this AR door, we just cut down to the hallway leading into where she was found. But you can see the scale of the space. It's all dimensions are done exactly to how the basement was. It's now been remodeled, but based on photos and then different detectives that were there at the scene, we've made sure to make this an accurate area so you can walk into and see, where she was found in this boiler room area, how there's still Christmas presents laying around on the floor. So it's very detailed, and we do take pride in making things as accurate as possible for these cases.
What gave you the idea to do this? It was during COVID, right? I mean, it's pretty incredible that you've managed to pull this off in such a short amount of time. Can you tell me?
Passion. We have passion for it. I can't think of anything bigger that we could ever achieve in our lives than to solve a crime like this. So when we realized the opportunity that the audience had not been served with content, we realized that we understood the technology of how to do it and what the potential result could be, creating this global community of crime solving. It was very easy to say, this has to be our focus.
And with COVID, we're really in our house all day long with everyone in your audience. So it really gave us a focus to really hone in on it. No distractions, really.
Now, Lauren, you have a marketing background. Neil, you've been a journalist. You've both worked together in Hollywood as producers, and you've worn many different hats. How are you finding working together on this project at home?
We're super codependent, so it's fine. We really love each other, so it is great. We're working with our best friend, and we've worked together basically since we started really dating. We immediately started integrating each other into each other's work, and when we got engaged, we actually Lauren joined my production company, and we started figuring out ways to make each other better, just like you would want to do in any relationship. So this was easy for us.
Yeah, it wouldn't be easy for most people, I have to tell you. I mean, you're both tend to be ahead of the curve, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about distribution, right? In 2010, you were telling me earlier, not on the show, but we spoke earlier, that you noticed there was a shift in distribution of programming, right? And you immediately thought, looks to me like YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and all that is going to be the new place for distribution. And you hopped on sort of that before the trend even took hold. It just seems to be that you both sort of instinctively know what the public is going to be consuming, right?
Well, I have been a producer since I was a teenager, and never worked for anybody. I've always created my own projects. I shouldn't say that. I have had contracts with people, like the O.J. Simpson criminal trial. I worked as a reporter or a producer on that for ABC News. I had been a news reporter for NBC and for ESPN. But after my journalist days in my mid-20s, I really moved into directing feature films and creating television series. And each time I was doing that, you're basically spinning up a new company when you sell a new show. And I really didn't love the transactional nature of Hollywood, where I always had to come up with a new thing every single year. I had to sell more projects. And I had an infrastructure with my brother. We had a production company with a facility in Hollywood that we were using. And so there was a lot of pressure to continuously innovate and create new shows. And I had always wanted to be a part of something that was big. And when I say big, I talk about like the television, the telephone, the internet. These are big, big ideas. And I knew, as you pointed out, once YouTube really became a thing and the smartphone became a thing, I could see that people were migrating away from paying for that $150 cable bill, and they were starting to get platforms like Netflix and other ways of consuming content. And so my core business had been in television. And I thought, well, this sort of gravy train that I had been on is not going to continue. And I needed to think about, well, what was the next big thing? And I wanted to be there early. And the next big thing, which we're just starting to see come to life now, is what's called the spatial web. And that's where augmented reality and virtual reality will allow us to experience information overlaid in our real world. And we've seen it in movies like Minority Report and Blade Runner. The fact is that right now in 2021 and moving forward, we're going to really start to see these things come to life. And in later 2021, Facebook, in partnership with Ray-Ban, will be releasing a pair of augmented reality eyeglasses that look like this. And we're going to see other companies, Apple, Google, follow. And at some point in the next couple of years, we will jettison the smartphone. And I know that's hard for people to conceive of, but are you still holding a brick phone, a bag phone, a flip phone, or a home phone with a rotary dial? You're just not. And this is the way of the future, and we're starting to see it come to life. And so I knew that was going to happen. And so by 2012, Lauren and I talked about it. We said we have to get into that now. Even though it's not going to be a thing until the 2020s, we have to be there early.
Wow.
We made that move almost a decade ago, learned the technology, became innovators. We made some stuff in virtual reality. We produced the Super Bowl in virtual reality for the Eagles. We won a couple of Emmys for virtual reality. And so this has been a very long process for us to get to this point.
Right. I mean, what were your thoughts? Remember, Pokemon Go and all those where people were running around. I mean, what kind of impact did that have on you when that all came out? It was like all the rage. Like, yeah, but you clearly looked at it and probably saw it a step ahead. You know what I mean?
Well, he really analyzed it. I feel like he really took the time to pick it apart. And, CrimeDoor and the evolution that we came to this idea has really been years in the making to develop, okay, what is this technology? How can it be used? How can it be used that's just, for the consumer, as well as all the different ways, manufacturing and government, and there's so many different avenues to go down. So it's just how will it be adopted over the next few years?
Yeah, Pokemon was an enormous influence on our decision-making and our strategy. And as Lauren said, I really studied it. And the science behind Pokemon, after the deep dive analysis, came down to a single word. And the word was understanding. And because you could now pop the Pokemon in your living room or on the street, and you could stand up next to it, you suddenly understood your height. You knew how to compare your height compared to the Pokemon's height. And so when you read a cartoon, you then went and looked at the television show, you could then unlock other pieces of information just because you understood the sense of presence. And you could say, oh, well, that is this big, or that is this big, or this means that. And so we knew we needed to find a use case of augmented reality where it would add significant understanding. And when you look at true crime and you think about, well, the average detective, he or she had 1, maybe 2 hours at that crime scene one time, and then that was it, wiped it clean. Now, using our technology, the detective or everyone on the force or the entire general public worldwide can go into that crime scene exactly how it was, revisit it, compare it with the other two-dimensional content, articles or videos, and have a fresh perspective. And then who knows what could happen. So we needed to find the IP that would benefit from AR, and we decided True Crime was that platform. And Lauren has an enormous passion for it. And as a journalist, I also understood the storytelling very well.
The research behind it, though, can you sort of give us a glimpse into how you're doing that? Because it also has to be impeccably accurate. How are you doing that?
We have a great team behind us. We have a great team that are just as passionate, if not more, about these cases. And it's really time. It's really, it can't be an algorithm that we just turned on and it pulls everything for each case. It's really, each case is hand curated one by one. And that's also what these cases really need, what these victims and their families, they need the accurate information. So it's really been taking the time to give each case what it needs and pulling in everything one by one by one.
Right. And you've also hired journalists to help you with this, to make sure that, you've got researchers and journalists, and you've got all of that on your team, to make sure that everything is just so, right?
Fact checkers, goes on and on. So there's, we have a great team behind us.
Now, when I put when my CrimeDoor comes up, right? What's amazing to me is how you're constantly updating the content. Let's face it, there's crimes happening every second in this country, for example. How are you doing that? How do you even keep track of it? I'm looking at this this one here, the Nashville Waffle House shooting, the Lululemon murder, the London nail bombings, which I think is a past crime. But how are you keeping up on it every day? Same thing, I guess?
Yeah, it's really leaning on our team in the right way. And, we've tasked our tech team as well to help us really track all of these cases. And we do release, 1 to 5 cases each day. So maybe if you're searching for one in your area, it's not there yet, but I guarantee you it's on our list, and we will continue to update those and push those out day after day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it, and there's updated material today that was not there yesterday. Mm-hmm. And what you can get, by the way, I want people to know this, for free on CrimeDoor. Please explain that, and what you get when you sign up, right? Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, all of the two-dimensional content is free. That's over 100,000 hours of free content. Wow. And that's curated from networks like Oxygen or ABC or Discovery ID. So much of their content they put out on the internet to be shared, and we say thank you. We will share it. And so we share it into our platform, so then the audience can enjoy it and share it as well. So it becomes that very simple central holding place. The only thing we charge money for are the augmented reality features, which we think are pretty amazing. And you could get a single AR asset for $1.99, or get access to all of them, and they're coming throughout the month regularly for $4.99 a month, or for $49 a year, which is a 20% discount. So a cup of coffee, you get the most amazing immersive content, that's available, and we're adding in our own original two-dimensional content right now. I'll let Lauren talk about that content.
Right. So certain cases that we have partners with, we're interviewing them, and maybe they were the detective on the scene, or they've worked the cold case, or it's a family member, a forensic psychologist that can weigh in. So we're having different experts talk about each case, and so that will just add additional value to each of these profiles. So that is included in the subscription that we have, and those original content pieces will be rolling out week after week with the cases themselves.
Wow, that's pretty extraordinary. What is this projected to make? Do you have any partners, or is it just the two of you?
We don't have any partners. It's just the two of us. So we're looking for partners. So if anybody wants to be part of CrimeDoor, please reach out to us. There's an enormous opportunity for global partnerships on this project. The person in Jakarta doesn't care that story took place in North Dakota. There's no tribalism with true crime like there is with sports. It's not like a guy who only likes the Cleveland Browns fans. Like, This is about story, and people care about story globally. And CrimeDoor, which by the way, people should download as a quick reminder right now, CrimeDoor is the single place in the world where there's a global aggregation of content.
Wow. But getting back to that question, this thing could be like bigger than almost anything that I've seen out there, augmented reality, video, anything. This is major, and it's simple enough because all you need is your phone, right?
Yeah, well, our goal is to build a global community. That's
Right.
our. Will it generate revenue? Of course it will. And with that revenue, we can help more families. So it's an unbelievable opportunity because at its core, it's about helping the victims. And whether that's through information or through other programs that we support, CrimeDoor, if you care about victims and victims' families, you should be at least downloading it for free because you're getting content. Like 70% of the cases in this app are unsolved. And so there's plenty of good that can be done. And when I look through the work that Lauren has done, and Lauren has picked every single case in the app by herself, nearly 1,000 cases right now. And when I look at some of that content, I look at cases that are 20 years old, 50 years old, 100 years old, and maybe some of them have like one article or one photo on the whole internet. And I think, boy, what a great opportunity for that family to now have a platform for people to be talking about them, thinking about them. You know what they say, tree falls in the woods, no one's there to hear it, no sound. Well, they're there now. They're in the community where people can discover them. And so we're very proud about, when I look at a case that has very little content, I'm excited about that case because that allows the community to say, hey, I know of another article. I know of a little piece. We can talk about this and add to it. And hopefully, again, bring a voice to that victim who has been silenced.
Have you been working with law enforcement agencies who've contacted you and say, hey, have you been doing that? They've been calling you for info, or tell me about that.
Yeah, we're just at the beginning stages of our partnerships with different law enforcement organizations. We are working with Paul Holes, who's a cold case detective. He has his own podcast, and he had a show on Oxygen, and he's really well known in the community for the Golden State Killer case. And he's currently on America's Most Wanted. So he's a busy guy. But he has lent himself as a partner for CrimeDoor because he also believes in it and he sees the value. So we're constantly reaching out to different law enforcement communities to see how we might be able to partner. We're also looking at DNA Solves, which is an organization out of Texas, to see maybe if they have cases they want to feature or vice versa. We say, we found these cases, maybe you would be benefiting by looking into the DNA on this. So we do really feel this great opportunity in the community to really work together, and really the sky's the limit for CrimeDoor and how we can utilize these partnerships to the next level.
I want to say to people, this is not a ghoul thing. This is very well done, very well researched, which is what I love about it. As a journalist, right, I'm always asking questions. What about this? What about this? And it's in there. You can walk through it, you can be a part of it, and you can ask questions, and everything is there, and which is what I love about it. Sure, if you're curious, it's a terrific place to go. But I love that the research done with it. You guys, bravo, well done. And yes, I think you're going to be helping a lot of families get some closure. I really do. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
That's the goal. And again, the doors, because we're accurate, and there's different forms of storytelling. And we struggle always with how to tell a story. Right. In some cases, you're going to go in there and you're going to see the crime scene exactly how it was when the detective showed up in the scene.
Yeah. That's mind-blowing to me, really mind-blowing. You can look up the O.J. Simpson case and be a part of that. I mean, those of us who covered that here in California, that's still a little bit haunting. Yeah. The killer is at large, and I think a lot of people will be interested and curious what that was like at the crime scene as well, right? Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Well, I was just saying, some of these crime scenes, again, because they're accurate and we choose different moments in time, are intense. This is not for children, this app. This is 17 plus. But this, if you
Right.
really want to understand, remember that word, understand, you have to deal with what the detectives dealt with.
Yeah.
However, there are other crime scenes that we, as we get creative with it, we say, you know, we just cannot show this scene as it happened. We just can't.
Right.
You emotionally can't do it. You know, in the case of the Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman case, the imagery had existed on the internet. It has been out there. People have seen it. They have a great understanding of what happened. There's been movies about it. But we
Right.
just released today the Aurora movie theater massacre, and we didn't want to see people being shot in that scene. So what
No.
we did, but we had to, again, get you to understand how it went down. And so when you come into the door, you're in the front part of the movie theater, right by the screen, which is where the perpetrator entered. And you see a plaque that explains that the room is filled with laser beams and footprints. And you can see the yellow footprints, which is where the perpetrator walked. And you can see that he walked a great area and was not stopped. And then you see red and green lasers. And there's 78 lasers that are crisscrossing the room, and those represents his shots. 12 of them actually hit somebody and the rest missed. And when you're walking through the room, you see all the lasers, you totally understand the chaos that scene would have been. And yet you don't see a single individual. There's no blood, there's nothing. It's just lasers and footprints.
Right. Well done. So that the description is there. You know what happened, but well done so that it's not so gory as to upset any victims' families. You know, that's not even necessary. So I'm glad that you've decided to do it and pursue it in that way. I have to tell you, ever since that case, I have a hard, and I'm not kidding, this is a while ago too, right? I have a tough time going to the movies. I'm actually always looking around. It's like, do I want to be up here? Do I want to be in the middle? Sometimes I won't go because of that. That frightened me so much. Not that it has anything to do with your app, of course, but
Lauren,
that's how it.
Yeah. Lauren, what happens when I walk into a strange building, a coffee shop?
He's always looking for what are the exit routes, and he's prepared and just hyper aware.
I literally count my steps to an exit. I know exactly where I am at all times.
We have to. We're living in a nutty world right now. It's like for a while now, right? You sort of have to count your steps. Where are you going? Where's the exits? So, gosh, you guys, any parting words that you want to tell us about CrimeDoor that you want people to know about, please.
Well, we just hope everyone, can get something out of it and really learn and understand. And we're excited to start this journey with this amazing community of people that does want to help families, help victims solve crimes, have a greater understanding and really put these cases in the forefront that need to be talked about. So it's just, we feel that we're in a great place to get the app to the next level and also make an impact.
Yeah, I would just say that I continue to be humbled by the community, the opportunity to give this community a place to congregate and soon communicate and create their own content. That's coming in the next few months.
Oh, and, wow.
Oh yeah, this will be the universe for people who are into true crime to come together. No problems with Reddit, but we can do it better, and we are going to do it better.
Sounds like you already have. So thank you both so much, Neil and Lauren. It's fascinating. Please, everybody, get the CrimeDoor app. I hope some of you did while we were talking about it today. It's fascinating, to initially look at what the content and then, of course, sign up for a subscription. It's quite reasonable and quite interesting. There's a lot of people that can be helped through this as well. So thank you both very, very much. Fascinating couple, brilliant couple, I might add. So and I'm glad that you're able to work together on this. So that's not easy to do either. So thank you very, very much for sharing your story. I really do. Again, everybody, CrimeDoor. Thanks both of you for joining us on Deborah Kobylt Live. It's been fascinating. I wonder if there's anything where we can have our audience, do to let them know that let you know that they've been downloading the app. Is there anything, any way to get in touch with you?
Yes, of course. Right now, first of all, The CrimeDoor, for us, we were motivated by personal stories to start with. For me, it was the Oakland County child killer case. I grew up in Michigan, and that was happening at the same moment in time as the Atlanta child killers were happening. And I was the same age as those boys, so I'm hypersensitive to that. There are local cases all around the world that have impacted people. And if you have a case that you know about that you would like to have included in the app, simply email us. Go to crimedoor.com. There is a form you can fill out and give us the information on the cases, and we will build it out. No cost. Your friends, your family, you're in the neighborhood, whatever reason you know of a case and you want it in there, or if you see a case in there and you know of additional information, please email us so we can incorporate it.
Yeah, you can find us on our social channels at CrimeDoor on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So we're happy to hear from everybody.
TikTok.
Yep.
Fascinating. And TikTok as well. Fascinating, both of you. Lauren and Neil Mandt, the CrimeDoor app. Please, everybody, get it. Get in touch with them. I think it's really important. And thank you both for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live. It was great to talk to you both. And I'd love to stay in touch about it too. I think it's really going to explode. It's going to explode. And thanks to our sponsors, FahertyBrand.com/Deb. We're going to play a little commercial about that. And also HarperCollins. They're also a sponsor with their summer reading series, The Lost and Found Bookshop. They'd love for you to look that up as well, HarperCollins. So don't forget CrimeDoor. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're going to be putting out a couple of our commercials, and we will see you next time. CrimeDoor, don't forget. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love our latest collaboration, Faherty. I'm so obsessed with their products that over the weekend I purchased everything from hats, shorts, sundresses, and even a few shirts for my husband at their Malibu store close to where I live. At Faherty, summer is in their DNA, and everything from their blankets to shorts and tees are beautifully woven organic materials, and that's everything to me. Faherty is about family, and I was so excited to learn that the family who actually started Faherty were from Spring Lake, New Jersey, where I spent so many summers as a kid. And they care about what I care about, simple, top quality clothes for every day, for travel, casual evenings, just the way we live in our family. So please shop FahertyBrand.com and make sure to put in the code DEB20 for your special discount. And happy summer. I just read the most amazing book, and I'd love to recommend it to all of my viewers and listeners. It's called The Lost and Found Bookshop by New York Times bestseller Susan Wiggs, and it's available now on paperback at HarperCollins.com. It is perfect as a summer read by the pool, the beach, the lake, or if you're traveling by plane. So here's the premise. Natalie Harper inherits a financially strapped bookshop in San Francisco after her mother dies. She also becomes the caretaker to her grandfather, and it's books that become a welcome retreat for her grief and tough times. People magazine calls the book a feel-good family saga. I call it incredible. In fact, I felt for Natalie, and I wanted to know what else she found inside the pages of those books. The Lost and Found Bookshop is about life's ups and downs and how we get through them. Pick it up at HarperCollins.com, and remember, tell them Deborah Kobylt sent you. That's The Lost and Found Bookshop.